Let's have that conversation, shall we? You may have seen her on a reality TV show, Played the Game, got a lot of people talking. In fact, some have credited some of the high points of that show to her. You hear that name, Tolu. Yeah, Tolu Ekundari from the Trust reality TV show is our guest on the morning brief this morning. Hi, Tolu. Good morning. Back here we'll say Tolu, but they say Tolu a lot, and even sometimes you say Tolu, so I'm trying to, just cue behind that. But Tolu, it's good to have you on the morning brief. How are you?
I am great. It's so amazing to be here this morning.
Someone had to say, the energy, the vibe is just top notch from Tolu. So I want to know, please, how do you keep that energy up? We'll talk about the show, but I just want you to give us some advice because we need our energies to always be up. How do you keep your energy up, Tolu? Because you're quite energetic.
Honestly, I like to call myself the Energizer Bunny because I just remind myself that every day is a blessing. Like every single day, we're not guaranteed. So what you make out of the day is what you're going to grab from it. So I just try to keep the energy up, stay excited, stay positive, and just get everything that I have coming for me. That's really my secret.
Fantastic. So we'll take a cue from that, okay? That's straight from Tolu. If you want to keep your energy up, that's what to do, right? So let's talk about the show. You've gotten so much support from Nigerians. Yes, there've been the controversies naturally. That's what you get from reality TV shows, right? But you're one of the characters that really made that show worth watching. There was a lot of controversy around your character, the way you played the game. You were the player. So walk us through, your mindset approaching the Trust show and eventually lasting up until the very end, even though you are amidst what a lot of people will describe as foes, but you played that game.
Yeah. So I went into the Trust, when we went in there, we didn't know anything about the show. We didn't know the concept. We didn't even know what really anything was going to be about. So I went in blind. The only thing I knew was that the call to action from the ad that I answered was, this is an opportunity to win a life-changing amount of money. That was my call to action, life-changing amount of money. And I said, I like life-changing amounts of money. So I went in there with the mindset that, there's money on the line that can change your life. Grab it. By any means necessary, grab it. And so when we got there and they explained the premise of the show and they told us, oh, congratulations, you're all winners. Everybody's going to share $250,000. As exciting as that may seem to some people, I went in there for a life-changing amount of money. And I said to myself, I'm walking out with as much money as possible. And I was true to my word.
Okay, for those people who haven't seen the show, because you said you went here, you didn't know much about the show. Now you've been on the show and you've made this impact, making Nigeria proud. So walk us through, I think it's called a game of greed, all of that. So walk us through, walk people who haven't seen the show, who have no idea what is Trust TV reality show, because right here, they're used to the Big Brother Nigeria, Big Brother Africa and all of that. So what's the format of the show? What exactly are you gaming for and all of that?
Okay, so you know how here in Nigeria, Big Brother Nigeria is huge, right? And with Big Brother Nigeria, there can only be one winner. So the way the Trust, a game of greed is set up is when we all walked in, there were 11 of us. We all walked in and the host said, congratulations, you're all winners. Just like that, as soon as we walked in, we're all winners. We're all going to share in an equal amount of $250,000. But the catch is, in order to get your share of the $250,000, you have to make it to the end. So throughout the experience, there will be multiple opportunities to cast a vote. Now, you don't have to cast the vote, it's optional. But if you cast the vote and somebody is eliminated, then they lose on their share of the Trust, the $250,000. And the more people are eliminated, the more money you have in your pocket because it's less people to share it with. So that's the caveat. You don't have to vote, but there is a major incentive to vote. And so as the game continues, there's also that paranoia because it just takes one single vote. So if, again, it started with 11 of us. So if 10 out of the 11 decide, all right, I don't want to vote, love everybody, let's just share. And one single person says, I don't like that person, I'm going to cast a vote. That one vote now becomes the majority, and whoever they voted for is eliminated, just like that. So you also have to trust, like, okay, these people say that they're not going to vote. Am I sure that they're not going to vote? Because if there is a tie, like let's say there's 1 and 1, then nobody gets eliminated at all. But if there's just one single person or somebody gets a majority of the votes, then they're eliminated. So it just like there's that paranoia in there. Like, should I cast a vote to try to save myself? Should I not cast a vote? Can I trust that these people are not going to cast a vote? It's just, there's so many places that your mind is going all at once.
Wow. Amazing. It sounds like, okay, amazing is not the word. It sounds like walking on eggshells, actually. I like the way you said Niger. You know, you said it with a Niger tone, and I'm sure that you can still call your name Tolu, not Tolu, as it's called in the US. Now, this is a difficult part, Tolu. The name of the show itself is Trust, and then it has a tagline, a game of greed. So that's a paradox in the first place. And you explaining it now, you know, tells us that, you know, the mindset of the organizers playing on human frailties, either it's greed, betrayal, and distrust. What do you think about that objective, you know, based on the morality of it?
Honestly, I feel like, and this is what I've learned from my experience, we all come from different walks of life. And the walks of life that we've gone through, it shapes how we kind of approach the world and how we think about things. So, for example, if you watch the show, you'll see that there are certain individuals who their trust is given, and it's just given automatically, and it has to be taken away. Whereas there's other individuals like myself where our trust is earned. I don't trust people on the off, like just on initial, like, oh, I trust you wholeheartedly. It's earned. Like, you have to give me a reason to trust you. So there are those like varying kind of like ideals and types of people. So it really like, it plays into the whole, like, okay, there's individuals who are innately trusting. There's individuals who are innately distrusting. How do they interact in this confined space? And again, like, we're literally just in this house. We cannot escape. So we're just in front of each other 24/7, no TV, no internet, no Facebook, no Instagram, no nothing, just each other. So just seeing how those different dynamics like play together and interact, it really shows just how like us being different individuals really shapes how we see the world.
Well, Tolu, your character was quite controversial. You said you went there to play the game, but for a lot of people, they saw you as a villain sometimes. They saw you as a manipulator sometimes. They saw you as a lot of things, and I'm sure you've gotten a lot of reaction on social media.
So many.
You know, I was just reading through some of them. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to get my head into this right now. But
don't read the comments.
I know. I think we should tell people, never read the comments or take them serious. It might get at you. But how are you handling all of that? Because there's always a backstory. I've seen you say, I am the main character. For a lot of people, they don't understand that. What they see is, why is she doing this now? Why can't you just be the trusting person? Why can't you just be gentle and calm and just be the, you know, happy-go-fellow kind of person, even though you're very happy, but not, you know, at the detriment of what you feel is right or otherwise. So talk to us about how you've handled all of that negativity, and what was the motivation behind your playing that game the way you did?
So, okay, when the show first came out, I'm not gonna lie, I was not expecting the amount of backlash that I received. Like, I knew I played the game, but I thought people would like notice, like, okay, she has some strategy going on. She obviously came with a clear objective. No, I did not see that at all. I was very maligned in the beginning, I will not lie. And it took up until like the second batch of episodes, because when the show first came out, it dropped batch by batch. So 4 episodes the first week, then 3, then 2. if I'm not mistaken, something like that. So it dropped batch by batch. So that first week, everybody out, it was like hate Tolu week. And I had to say, I'm not gonna lie, it did get to me because I wasn't expecting the amount of backlash that I received. So I did stay in my room for a little bit. I was sad. Like, I live with my parents, so mommy and daddy literally had to like come into my room. Daddy was there praying. He was like, Tolu, you gotta understand, like not everybody is gonna see things the way you do. Why would you? They're like, you are a lion. Why are you letting the opinions of a sheep like deter you? I was like, you know, you're right, Daddy.
I like that.
I'm lion. Why am I letting the opinions of sheep make me feel sad? So thank God that I had that support system in my parents. Like they were always there to just breathe life back into me and pray with me. And like that really got me through that initial dark time. But then afterwards, like as you know, more of the episodes came out, I guess people started to see more of like my gameplay because again, I never hid it from the onset. I went in there with a very clear objective: money. That was my objective. like the friendship is nice, but at the end of the day, do recognize that these are strangers. I went in there because I wanted to bring home as much money as possible to my family and myself and win a life-changing amount of money. And then even as I was playing the game, I think a lot of people, they miss like the strategy behind it. Like the individuals that I voted to eliminate, there was clear reasons behind why I voted to eliminate them. I just didn't do anything out of malice or bad belly. Like the first individual that I eliminated, like he was lying. He was lying about something. We didn't know what he was lying about. You can't tell me that you trust a person who's lying on the very first meeting. Come on now. So he had to get... The second person who got eliminated, he was a millionaire. Why am I going to split $250,000 with somebody that has generational wealth and millions of dollars in the bank? It don't make sense. Like he was even wearing a watch that was $250,000. So important. You're wearing it on your wrist and you're telling me I should share with you? It's not making sense. So that one, he had to go. And then the third person, if you finish the show, and I don't want to spoil too much.
No, your spoilers, right?
That person had to go, and if you watch the show, you're going to know why that person had to go. So, like, there was logic behind every single person I eliminated. I never eliminated anybody just because I was like, well, I'm bored. I'm gonna eliminate someone today. Like, but I think people are so caught up in the, oh, but we all could have just been nice. We all could have shared. You can't tell me that if you were in a house with strangers that you've never met before, and mind you, the totality of our duration in that house was 3 weeks. So I didn't know these people for longer than 3 weeks, if they even stayed that length. You're telling me that your devotion to strangers is going to be stronger than your devotion to yourself and your family back home? It's not, don't equate in my eyes. So I know a lot of people have things to say about the way that I played the game, but I feel like at the end of the day, I was a player, but I was logical in my reasoning behind it. You're not a player, you're getting played.
They say don't hate the game, maybe hit the player.
Oh, don't hit the player this time.
That is a hit the player. But apparently from the record, I think you're about $73,000 richer right now. So you're smiling a lot. And how did you, with all of this, what you were thinking about people, I'm sure people were thinking about it against you. How did you survive them? They didn't survive you. Like the guy was wearing the $250,000 watch. He couldn't survive you. But somehow you survived him. How did you play that game?
Honestly, it's all about, like, I am a very personable individual. Like, I'm really good at, interacting, like making friends. So I was able to build those connections throughout the house. And everybody knew me. Like, they knew who I was, like, inside. So I was very well liked. That was number one. And then number two, when it comes to how you interact with individuals, you have to learn to be, adaptable. Like, you have to learn to be adaptable. You can't interact with everybody the same way. You have to appear to individuals in a way that is going to be receptive to them. So, for example, like some people I was real soft with because I know that that's how they feel comfortable around me. Some people I can be more direct with because I understand that that's how they feel comfortable around me. So it's just all about adaptability. You have to kind of be the Tolu that is necessary in that moment, if that makes sense.
You know, Tolu, watching you is an absolute delight. And I'm glad we're having this conversation because we brought out the Naija in you. All right. So on a lighter note, I was going through your Instagram page and it's a delight, you know, to watch your videos, by the way. And one of the best things, apart from your $73,000, is that you got a best friend, right? Winnie.
Yeah.
Okay, so that game you played with Winnie, let's see if we can play some of it. Who was your shadiest on the show? Who would you have loved to bring back on the show? Don't worry, we won't tell anybody, as Kari always says.
All right, who was the shadiest on the show?
Yeah.
I feel like that's easy for anybody who watched it. The shadiest on the show for me was Lindsay. Because if anybody watched it, she ended up being backstabbing, conniving, fake, and shady AF. Like, I thought we were girls. Girls don't do that to each other. So she was definitely the shadiest.
Who would you have loved to bring back?
That one was a no-brainer. It was Winnie.
Winnie, yeah.
Right.
So talk to us about Winnie.
So Winnie and I, immediately we saw each other, we clicked, we connected. Like, she has this big Africa tattoo right here, and me, I don't have any tattoos because I don't want to hear my parents' mouth. But I love to wear my Africa earrings and Africa necklace because it makes me feel more connected, you know, to my culture. And that's why I wear like a lot of, if you notice on the show, I wore a lot of Ankara and lace because it makes me feel more connected to, you know, being Nigerian. So I saw Winnie's Africa tattoo. She saw my Africa earrings, and immediately we're like, sisters? Oh my gosh. And then it was even crazier. We both found out that we were both from Houston. And mind you, I'd never seen this girl from Adam before the show. And we're both Nigerians, because she's also Nigerian. We're both of Nigerian descent.
No way.
Living in Texas. Yeah, she's second generation Nigerian, like born in America, and I'm first gen, born in Nigeria.
Tolu,
So
you just touched at a very important point, because this conversation really, aside what you did in the reality show, is about how you project the African culture. You're quite unapologetic about it. Your outfit from the start of the show was Ankara. It was well styled. One of your earrings is even the African continent anyway. Your hairstyle. First, let's even hear you speak Yoruba. Tolu Shogbo Yoruba. You just did.
You just did.
But tell me, so do you see it as, hey, this just makes me like Superwoman, you know, like Wakanda forever. I carry this culture that makes me, I don't want to say better, but it's really rich, and I have a lot to offer. How do you really translate the African culture, the richness? How do you translate it into all you do, modeling, acting, and all of that, even though you're not in the environment that is African in that sense?
I feel like being in the diaspora, it put me in a position where I literally had one foot in both worlds. Like, I was too African for Americans. I was too American for Africans.
Right.
So I had to kind of find my own identity, like, okay, where do I fit in? And even from youth, like when we first moved to America, I struggled to fit in because like I was so obviously different. The way that I spoke was different. Like, I blame my parents because they speak British English at home. So I went to school saying things like trousers and boots instead of the trunk of a car, and kids were like, "What are trousers?" Like, you know, because that's an American terminology. So I was always like kind of othered. I was bullied for being African, and it really hurt because it was like, this is such a strong part of my identity. And so when I was young, it was kind of like you saw a lot of Nigerian and African kids hide the fact that they were African because it wasn't cool here in the States back then. It's cool now. But back then, like when I was growing up, it was not cool. You were like the African booty scratcher or just very stupid things. So you saw a lot of African kids hide that. Like, oh yeah, no, I'm not African. My parents are, but I'm not African. Me, I was always like, whenever I'm not at school, when I'm back at home, it's Naija. Mommy, daddy, they always spoke Yoruba. I always spoke Amala. I always ate Amala, Eba, Iyan. Like, I was taking jollof rice to school. I was in Nigeria when I was back at home. So I had a very strong sense of my culture. And I was like, you know what? And even mommy, she told me, because I used to come home crying because I would get bullied a lot. Mommy told me, she was like, Tolu, at the end of the day, who cares? Can you change the fact that you're Nigerian? I was like, no, I can't. They're like, do you hate the fact that you're Nigerian? I was like, no, I don't. So why do you care? Why are you crying? You should just be proud. Be prouder because they're only making fun of you because they see something that they do not have. And I was like, you're so right, Mom. And then from there, I was like, you know what? I don't care. I will be the African booty scratcher. That's fine. I'm so proud of where I come from. I'm so proud of my heritage. And that's why I wear it on my sleeve. That's why I wear it in my ears. That's why I wear it on my chest. Because I love the fact that I'm African, that I'm Nigerian. It's a beautiful culture. And even so, like, for example, my first name is actually Evelyn. And that's what they called me in school. But I feel more akin to Tolu Lokbe, because that's my middle name. I feel more akin to that. I was like, and Daddy gave me that name because he said one day my child is going to go to America, and I want her friends to be able to pronounce her name without complication. And it was beautiful, and they did. But after I left school, after I graduated college and I entered the corporate world, and mind you, at home everybody calls me Tolu. The only people who call me Evelyn are like Americans, people in school or at work. And I was like, if they can pronounce Arnold Schwarzenegger, what's stopping them from pronouncing Tolu? So, I was like, at that point, I'm my name, yes.
Okay, yeah, it's just interesting to watch you talk. That's why we're looking at you. It's quite exciting to see how you were able to hack that, what they consider cultural offense, you know. You're neither here, nor there, but you have to tell them, this is who I am at the end of the day. But you've been saying my parents, my mother, tell us about them. Are they the typical African Nigerian parent?
I would say they're the upgraded Nigerian parents. Like, very typical, but at the same time, I want to say they're like Niger Parent 2.0, Niger Parent Pro Max. That's what they are.
What does that mean?
They're okay, they're typical in the sense of, you know, like how all Niger parents have the same kind of playbook, like, go to school, no boyfriend until you're married. Well, I was top of my grade. I trekked 17 miles to go to school. Like they were that. But then at the same time, like, you know how a lot of people, they say like, oh, you know, Nigerian parents, if you're not a doctor, lawyer, engineer, you're just a disgrace to the family. Like, my parents were never like that. They were always like, Tolu, we trust you, and we trust where God is taking you. So whatever you feel like you want to do, go ahead and do it. And they have always been supportive of every endeavor that I went to. Like, even when I started university, I went in there like, I'm going to be a doctor. So I went as a biochem major. I took biosciences 1 and said, you know what? It's not everybody that needs to be a doctor. It's not everybody that needs to be a doctor. So I took myself to business.
All right. All right, so thumbs up to 2.0 parents, Niger parents in America and in the United Kingdom. But there are some friends that you have backstage who will not let us rest if they don't hear where you're from. I know we've asked you earlier where you're from, if you spoke Yoruba.
She's Yoruba.
But I'm going to ask you in Yoruba now. I will say it in English first. Where are you from? Omo Lubo Tolu.
Ibadan.
You didn't say it in Yoruba.
I can speak it, but I speak it so bad they're gonna make fun of me.
Tolu,
I sound like it.
How many bad jump?
you know, it's been such a pleasure speaking with you, Tolu, and we wish you the very best. We know there are great things, even greater things coming for you. And yeah, you need to recognize it will come with some of those negativities sometimes. But I'm glad you have a good support system. You have a good mindset to approach this. So, Tolu, thank you so much for your time on the morning brief. Look forward to having a chat with you again. We'll be speaking with Tolu Kondari. You'll have seen her in that reality TV show, The Trust. Won over $70,000. That's a rich woman you're seeing right there. All right, Tolu, wish you the very best. Please catch some sleep. We know you had to stay up to have this conversation with us. All right.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
It's quite a delight to talk to you. Yeah.
Awesome.
So much energy from her. Yeah, you just keep listening to her. Okay, let her just keep talking. Amazing.
Really?
Amazing.
It's not just the energy, it's the Nigerian spirit.
She's really unapologetic.
A second generation Nigerian American.
Amazing.
Beautiful.
Ooh, so, well, the fun is just getting started on the show this morning. It's Friday. Let's relax, okay? It's been a long week, really. So we'll go to break now. When we return, you know that back pain you've been complaining about? Well, there are ways around it. There are ways to manage it through exercise. There are different levels to this. So stay with us right here. We're changing very soon, and you see the exercise in us coming out in a moment. Stay with us.